September 3rd attempt for the Lion was, and with the conditions, we called it off once because the COVID had been decreasing, and then so Utah sort of ramped up again. We built that level twice. Also, with the conditions that were we did 30 on the
just so everybody knows we're live and you can talk, but it will be work.
What is it?
Yeah, because you don't want to share it on that. And now I don't want to hurt out.
We'll give it one more minute before we begin. All right, friends, Shabbat Shalom. We are going to go ahead and begin. We are happy to be here. Everyone has their mask on except for me. So it's not the political statement. It's that we are allowing the leaders optional masking because it's just so the experience to be for those who don't hear well, who don't see well, who need the lips, those who are online, it's very difficult. So I will be continuing to be unmasked while I am leading. Torah and Haftorah readers, it's optional. Everybody else masks on the whole time, including if you have an aliyah, etc. Okay, please rise, page 73. Baruch atah Adonai l'mechalam, asher natan l'sefirim v'alchevim ben yom u'ben la'ila. Baruch atah Adonai l'mechalam, shesani b'tzalma'o. Baruch atah Adonai l'mechalam, shesani Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai l'mechalam, shesani ben chorim. Baruch atah Adonai l'mechalam, v'akech ivrim. Baruch atah Adonai l'mechalam, b'albish arumim. Baruch atah Adonai l'mechalam, v'atir asurim. Baruch atah Adonai l'mechalam, zokef kefufim. Baruch atah Adonai l'mechalam, l'karat alamayim. Baruch atah Adonai l'mechalam, she'asa likot tzarki. Baruch atah Adonai l'mechalam, ha'mechin tzarek gaver. Baruch atah Adonai l'mechalam, ha'zeh yisrael b'gvura. Baruch atah Adonai l'mechalam, ha'zeh yisrael b'tifara. Baruch atah Adonai l'mechalam, ha'notzen le'ayef koach. We may be seated, and we're going to as I continue to just play with what we do and what we don't do in the early parts of the service, we're going to jump to page 95 because it's once again time to say La Bokerina, joy comes in the morning. Right? We had it for like 6 weeks. We'll have it again. Mizmor Shir Chanukat Habayit L'David. We're going to go now to page 134 for Hallelujah. Psalm 150. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 el bekodsho, hallelujah, berkia uzo, hallelujah, bigvurotav, hallelujah, kerov gudo, hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Hallelujah, beteka shofar. Hallelujah, benever vechinor. Hallelujah, betov umachor. Hallelujah, beminim beugav. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, betzilz le'shama. Hallelujah, betzilz le'trua. Kol hanshama te'haleliyah. Hallelujah, hallelujah. 143. Nishmat kol chai tivarech et shimcha. לך, ומי ישווה לך, ומי יערוך לך. אל הגדול גמור העליון קרא שמיים בארץ. נעלה לך, נשבחך חלפך לברך את שם קודשך כאמור. לדוד ברכי נפשי את אדוני וכל קרבה את שם קודשו. היה בתעצמות עוזך, גדול בכבוד שמך, גיבור לנצח ונורא בנורתך. המלך היושב על כיסא, רם ונישא. 149, שחרית. שוכנת מרום וקדוש שמו. וכתוב רננות צדיקים באדוני, ישרים נבע תהילה, בפי ישרים תתעלה, ודברי צדיקים תתברך, ובשעון חסידים תתרומם, ובקרב קדושים תתקדש. ומקלות רבבות עמך בית ישראל. פרי פרשים חמקנו בכל דור ודור, שכן חובת כל ישראל ולחרנה אלוהינו ולאבותינו, להודות להלל לשבח, לפאר לרומם להדר, לברך להלל ולקלס על כל דברי שירות ותשבחות. דוד בן ישי עבדך, משיחך, ישתבח שמך ליד מלכנו. האל המלך הגדול והקדוש בשמיים וארץ, כי לך נעלה אלוהינו ולאבותינו, שירו שפחה לה וזמרה, עוז וממשלה, נצח גדולה, גבורה ותהילה ותפארת, קדושה ולמלכות, ברכות והודאות מעתה ועד עולם. אתה אדוני, מלך גדול בתשבחות, אל ההודות, אדון הנפלאות, ובחר בשירי זמרה, מלך מלכי העולמים. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, יום יברח חירותי וימלך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחי לכל בית ישראל, בגלה בזמן קריב יאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם עולם בעלמיה. יברח וישתבח ויתברך ורם וינשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי קודשה בריחו. לעולם מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, שושבחתה ונחמתה, תמירן ועלמה ויאמרו אמן. Please rise for the Baruch Hu 152. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai Borach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Adonai L'Machalom. Yotzor Avrei Choshech Aseh Shalom Avrei Et HaKol. HaKol Yoducha V'HaKol Yoducha. אין קרקך ואין זולתך, אפס בלתך ומי דומה לך. אין קרקך ואין זולתך, אפס בלתך ומי דומה לך. אין קרקך אלוהינו בעולם הזה, ואין זולתך מלכנו חיי העולם הבא. ואפס בלתך גאוננו לימות המשיח, אין דומה לך מושיע תחיית המתים. אל אדון על כל המעשים, ברוך ומבורך בפי כל נשמה, כבודו ותרומה לעולם. תחת ותבונה סובבים אותו, המתגאה על חיות הקודש ונדר בכבוד על המרכבה. זכות ומישור לפני חיסור, חסד ורחמים לפני כבודו. טובים מאורות שברא אלוהינו, יצרם בדעת בבינה ובהשכל, כוח וגבורה נתן בהם. להיות מושלים בקרב תבל, מלאים זיו ומפיקים נוגה, נען זיוום בכל העולם. שמחים בצאתם וששים בבואם, עושים בהם הרצון קולם. פאר וכבוד נותנים לשבות עולה ורינה לזכר מלכותו. קרא לשמש ויזרח אורה, והתקין צורת הלבנה. שבח נותנים לו כל צבא מרום. תפארת וגדולה, סרפים ואופנים בחיות הקודש. לעילוי שבת מכל המעשים. תברך משינו על סוף מעשה ידיך, ואומר שעשית יפרוך הסלע. תברך צורנו מלכנו וגואלנו בורא קדושים. ישתבח שמך ליד מלכנו. 159. וכולם פותחים את פיהם בקדושה ותורה, בשירה ובזמרה, מברכים ומשבחים, מפרים ומריצים ומקדישים וממליכים את שם אל המלך הגדול והנורא קדוש הוא. וכולם מקבלים עליהם מלכות שמיים זה מזה, ונותנים רשות זה לזה, להקדיש את רצונם בנחת רוח, בספרה ורב ונימה, קדושה כולם כאחד, עונים ואומרים ביראה. קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות מלך כל הארץ כבודו. תופרים בחור רעש גדול מן הסים והצרפים, למתם משבחים ואומרים ברוך כבוד אדוני במקומו, לא ברכים בו יתנו. אור חדש על ציון תאיר, אור חדש על ציון תאיר, ונזכה כולנו מהרה לאורו, מהרה לאורו. אתה אדוני יוצר מאורו. 163. Rabba ahavtanu Adonai Eloheinu Chemra gedola v'tera Chamata aleinu Avinu malkeinu V'avur avotenu Shebachu v'cha Avinu malkeinu V'atilamdem chukei chayim Ken tehonenu lamdenu Avinu avarachaman Amrachem rachem aleinu V'tein b'lebeinu lehavim Lehavinu laskil lishmoa Lilemod ulelamed Lishmor velasot Ulkayem et kol divrei V'toratecha ve'ahava ve'ha'er enenu V'toratecha v'dabek libeinu V'mitzvotecha ve'yached V'lehavenu le'ahava U'yira et shemecha Ve'lo nevosh le'olam va'ed Ve'lo nevosh va'ed Ki v'shem kolchecha Hagadol v'hanora b'tachnu Nagila v'nismecha Nagila v'nismecha V'shuatecha Ve'avihenu l'shalom Me'arba kanfot haaretz Ve'tolichenu kol memiyut Le'artzenu Ki el poel yeshut ata Nuvacharta mikolam velashon Ve'keraftanu l'shimcha hagadol Selah be'emet Lehodov lecha, u'yachecha, u'yachecha ve'ahava. Baruch atah Adonai, abocher b'amo Yisrael ve'ahava. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha V'chol levavecha v'chol nafshecha V'chol meodecha Ve'hayu advarim ha'ele Asher anochi metzavecha Hayom al levavecha V'shinantam levavecha V'dibarta bam V'shivtecha b'beitecha Uvlechtecha v'derech Uv'shokbecha uv'kumecha Uv'shartam leot al yadecha V'ayu letotafot beinenecha Uv'tavtam al mezuzot beitecha Uv'yishareh Kayam. Seen Sunday 167 through 169. Laman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'tem kedoshim Elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem Asher hotzeti etchem eretz Mitzrayim leot lachem Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem emet Adonai Elohechem emet emet tivrokem emet V'dor v'dor kayam u'shmo kayam v'shisonachon u'malchuto v'netlo li'ad kayam et v'dvarav chayim v'kayamim V'shata Adonai Eloheinu v'levotenu malkinu melech avotenu Golenu goel avotenu Yotzreinu tzur Yeshuatenu Borinu matzilem elam shemecha Ein Elohim zulatecha Yisrat avotenu atahu me'olam Maginu Moshiach Dor Bador Grazie. Yom Baruch Umvorach. Moshe v'nei Yisrael chaneshra b'simcha rabba v'yamru kula mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai mi kamocha nehedar b'kodesh norat ilot osei fele Shira Hadasha Shibu Ge'ulim Leshimcha Al Sfat Hayam Yachad Kulam Hodu V'Himliku Ve'amru Adonai Yimloch Le'olam Va'ed Tzur Yisrael Kuma Be'ezrat Yisrael Uvdei Kinumecha Yehuda Ve'Yisrael Golenu Adonai Tzvaot Shemo Kedosh Yisrael Baruch Adonai Gam Yisrael. Private Amidah, pages 175 to 192. I'm going to repeat the Amidah now, back on page 175. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi agid tehilatecha baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah El Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Konei Hakol V'Zocher Hastei Avot Umevi goel ibnei v'neihem leman shemo be'ava. Melech ozer Moshiach u'magin Baruch ata Adonai Magin Avraham ufokei tzara. Ata gibor le'olam Adonai Mechayim eitim ata rab le'hoshia. Mechalkel chayim bechesed Mechayim eitim berachamim rabim. Somech noflim berofech olim Umatir asurim Mekayim emunato Lishenei afar Michamocha ba'al givurot Umito melach Melech meimit Umechayim Umatzmiach Yeshua Reman atal chayot meiti Baruch ata Adonai Mechayei ametim. Please rise for the Kedusha. Nekadesh Shabelam Keshem Shemati Shimon Tovish B'marom Kakatu Vayad Neviecha V'kara Ze'el Ze Ve'amar Kadosh 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 Adonai Tziva'o B'chol Haaretz Kevodo Az B'kol Rash Gadol Adir B'chazak Mashmim Kol Minasim N'matzurafim V'atam Baruch Yom Meru Baruch Kevod Adonai Mim Komo Mim Kopot Malkeinu Toviev Titin Loch Aleinu Ki Mechakim Anachnu Lach Matai Timloch B'tzion B'karov B'yamenu Le'olam Va'ed Tishkon Tit Gadal V'tit Kadash B'tok Yerushalayim Ircha L'dor Vador L'dor Vador L'netzach Netzachim V'einenu Tirena Malchutecha Kadavar Amur B'shirei Uzecha Oidei David Mashiach Tzidkecha Yimloch Adonai Le'olam Elohayim Tzion V'dor Vador Hallelujah V'dor Vador Nagid God Lecha V'netzach Netzachim Kedushacha Nakdish V'shivcha Le'enu Mipinu Le'emus Le'olam Va'ed Kemal Kadosh V'kadosh Ata Baruch Ata Adonai Hayel HaKadosh. We may be seated. 181, page 181. Yismach, Yismach, Yismach Moshe b'matnach, b'matnach, b'matnach Chelko Kieved Ne'eman, Ne'eman Karata lo, ay, Yismach, Yismach, Yismach Moshe b'matnach, b'matnach, b'matnach Chelko Kieved Ne'eman, Ne'eman Karata lo Lo tiferet rosho natata ve'amdo lefanecha al har Sinai u'shnei luchot avanim horin b'yedo v'chatuv bahem shmirat Shabbat v'chen katuv b'toratecha v'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat v'dorot ha'marit olam v'ini v'nei Yisrael oti le'olam ki sheshtim imasar na'eret ha'shmaim ve'et ha'aretz v'yom ha'shvi'i Shabbat v'yinafash v'lo netato Adonai Eloheinu l'goyei ha'aratzot v'lo chinchalto malkeinu l'avdei fesidim וגם מנוחתו לישכנו ערלים, כי ישראל עמך נתתו באהבה, לזרוע יעקב אשר בם בחרת, מקדשי שביעי שבת, כולם יספו, ויתענגו מטובך שבת, והשביעי רצית בו וקידשתו שבת, נמדה ימים אותו, קראת זכר למעשה בראשית. אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו רצנו חטאנו, קדשנו במצוותיך ותן חלקנו בתורתך, צוונו מטובך ושמחנו בישועתך, וטהר ליבנו לעבדך באמת, והנחילנו אדוני אלוהינו באהבה וברצון שבת קודשך, ונוחו בה ישראל מקדשי שמך. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. Ritzei, Ritzei, Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu, V'amcha Yisrael, Uvi tefilatam yeshevet avodah le'vir beitecha v'shei Yisrael, Utefilatam v'ahava tikabel beratzon, Utehi l'ratzon tamin, Avodat Yisrael amecha v'techezena einenu v'shuvha le'tzion brachamim Baruch atah Adonai Hamachazir Shechinato Hamachazir Shechinato le'tzion Modim anachnu la. Yakulam Yiprach Yipraham Shimcha Malkeinu Tamid Elam V'ed V'chochim Duch HaSela V'lut Shimcha V'emet V'yishuv Atenu V'etenu Sela Baruch Atah Adonai Hatov Shimcha L'cha Na'el Lehodo V'Eloheinu V'Avotenu Barucheinu B'bracha HaMeshuleshet B'Torah HaKtuva Al Yedei Moshe Avdecha Ha'amura mi piaronu vanav, ha'amura mi piaronu vanav, ha'amura mi piaronu vanav, kohanim am kedoshecha ka'amur, Yirechanai v'nishmerecha, Yiranai v'nav lech v'chunecha, Yisaranai v'nav elecha, v'yesem lecha shalom, Yiratzon. Sim shalom tova uvracha chen v'chesed rachamim rachamim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael amecha v'archeinu avinu kulanu ke'echad ve'od panecha ki ve'od panecha natata lanu Adonai Eloheinu sim shalom b'olam tova uvracha chen v'chesed rachamim rachamim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael amecha Torah Chaim ve'ahavat chesed U'tzedakah uvracha v'rachamim v'chaim v'shalom sim shalom b'olam tova uvracha chen v'chesed rachamim v'rachamim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael amecha v'tov be'einecha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol eit u'b'chol sha'a v'shlomecha Baruch atah Adonai Baruch atah Yisrael b'shalom. Kedei Shalem, page 193. Yitgadal v'yikdash shemei Rabbav V'amar v'rach yirtei v'amlich malchutei b'chayechon v'yomechem v'chol beit Yisrael V'agalav v'zman kari v'imeru Yehei shmei Rabbav mevorach V'olam li'al me'amaya yiparach Yiparach v'ishtabach v'brach v'man v'naseh v'tdav v'toleh v'tol shmei kusha Richu Le'lam mikol b'chata v'shirata V'chata v'nechamata d'amiram v'yama v'imeru Tikvot zoton v'oton d'chol Yisrael K'rama v'hodi v'ishmaya v'imeru Mishlan Rav Mitshemai v'chemen v'kol Yisrael v'imeru Oseh shalom b'mamav u'ya'aseh shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol Yoshvei Tevel v'imeru. Right, this concludes Shachari. I just need a second. Find a few things. Because for our Torah service, we have something very special, which is that Shomini Johnson will be carrying the Torah for the first time and receiving her Hebrew name. And so, all very, very exciting. And she's here, not that she's not prompt, but, I told her absolutely 9:45, even though knowing that 10 would be the earliest. So here we go. All right, and we're going to have, let's see. Actually, why don't Obi and Heather, I'd like you to come up. You're going to open the ark, if that's all right. So come on up, have your masks on. Maybe get Heather maybe a head covering. You got one. All right, good. So go ahead and just stand there in preparation for its opening. Just stand right by the ark. Thankfully, Joan informed me that the padlock was on before services started. All right, so, and Shomini, why don't you come on up to the bima as well? Now, for you, mask is optional because you're going to be saying a few words, but you know. All right, 195. Ein kamocha va'elohim Adonai v'ein k'ma'asecha malchutecha malchut kol olamim u'memshalecha b'chol dor v'dor Adonai melech Adonai malach Adonai yimlo le'olam va'ed Adonai oz le'amo yitain Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom avarachamim etiv avertzon ha'et Zion B'nei Omor Yerushalayim B'nei Omor Yerushalayim Ki we rise now as the ark is opened. Vayivin Zoharon Vayomer Moshe Kuma Adonai Ve'afutzu Oivecha Ve'anusu Misanecha Mipanecha Ki Mitzion Tetzei Torah Ki Mitzion Tetzei Torah Urevar Adonai Yerushalayim Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah Le'amot Yisrael B'kedushato Be'anarachet Elishmei Kadisha Kadisha Yakira Hanai Mar Tushbehan Yaera Kodama Ketiv Tavli Be'oraita Betashim Mishali Delibi Beliba Decholamah Yisrael Letal Lechayi Belishlam So, Shomini, as you prepare to receive the Torah, just hold your hands out kind of like this at the bottom, and then you're going to kind of place it on your shoulder. We didn't practice this, so it will be awkward at first, but yeah. All right, you got it. You can even let it like rest down. You don't have to make sure you hold it up. All right, go ahead and close the ark. All right, so now, I don't know if you can do this one-handed, but I think you can. All right, so as you receive this Torah today, the words of our people, the teachings, the traditions, the commandments, the spirit, the heart, we recall the words that another famous woman who chose to become part of the Jewish people, and you're going to repeat those after me. So hold the microphone up, come after me. Wherever you go, I will go.
Wherever you go, I will go.
Wherever you lodge, I will lodge.
Wherever you lodge, I will lodge.
Your people shall be my people.
Your people shall be my people.
And your God, my God.
And your God, my God.
All right. And so, having spoken those words, I'm now going to give you your Hebrew name. Ami Shabbat Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak Yaakov Sarah Karach Avaleyah Mivarech et Achotenu Shulamit Bat Avraham Avinu V'Sara Amenu Kavawala chasot tacha karvei shkina, l'stapek nachal Yisrael, Uv'yimano al girat tzedek v'toch am Elohei Avraham Sarah, Yiratzon shel tatzliach v'darka v'tirei bracha b'chol masei yadea v'nomar Amen. May the one who blessed your ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless you. Shomini, chosen the name Shulamit. May it be a name among the Jewish people that continues the peace that you have found with this. Shulamit is a derivative of Shalom. May you continue to prosper in all your worthy endeavors. May the work of your hands be blessed. And let us say, Amen. And I want to add not only the work of your hands, but you bring such wonderful things to us, to our community here at Beth Abraham. Of course, and I'm glad that we at least are still allowing at least some of us to take off our masks for at least a moment so they can see your beautiful face. But world traveler, educator, and archer. Right? So all these things that uniquely you bring to our community, and Susan and I have both enjoyed having you in our classes immensely. All right, so I'm going to do the priestly blessing for you. Just 1 second. Get right next to you. Masks, microphones, so many things to remember. Yivarecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless and keep you. Yeranach v'lecha v'yivunecha. May God's face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. Sadnach v'lecha v'yisem lecha shalom. May God lift the divine face toward you and grant peace. Amen. Sing tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, sing tov, sing tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, sing tov, sing tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, sing tov. We're going to continue the Torah service. You get the first line, the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Echad Eloheinu Gadol, Adonai Kadosh Shemo. Echad Eloheinu Gadol. Shemo Yachdav, Lecha Adonai Ha'Gedula, Ha'Tiferet, Ve'Hanetzach, Ve'Ha'od, Ki Kol Hashemayim V'Haaretz, Kol Hashemayim V'Haaretz, Adonai Ha'Melech, Ve'Ha'Yinaseh Le'Ol, Romavu, Adonai Eloheinu, Ve'ishtachavu, Le'Hadam Raglav Kadoshu, Romavu, Adonai Eloheinu, Ve'ishtachavu, Le'Hadam Or it may be seated. Actually, let's give you an introduction to the Torah in just a moment. The Torah portion is Akev, and that is somewhere in Deuteronomy. And I will get you the exact references in just a moment. It's chapter 9, verse 4. Deuteronomy chapter 9, verse 4. And if you want the actual page, 1042, 1042. And, yeah, 9:4. So, and we're in the middle of Moses' speech to the people, recounting their journeys in the wilderness. And one of the things we're very specifically recounting today is the golden calf, the incident of the golden calf, and how that all went down. And there's slight differences between his reporting of the story and what actually happened, especially, the kind of things he leaves out, but a lot of which is Aaron who deserves a certain amount of blame for it. But in any case, that's what we have, 9:4. And let's see, we have for the first Aliyah, we're going to call Jerry and Ann, Kohanim.
And Jacqueline, you're going to come up.
And Jacqueline's going to come up as Joan reads, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, first Aliyah.
Yeah, I was doing that too last week, like replacing the goodbye, so. There
Are you
we
ready
go.
for me to go?
Yeah, we are ready. Amen.
Baruch Shanatan Torah L'Amo Yisrael B'Kedushato V'Kan Hadbeiti B'Adonai Eloheinu Hayim Kulchem Hayom.
Baruch Hu Adonai Baruch. Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Al tomar v'vavecha v'hadohu v'Adonai Lo tachaotam milfanecha le'mor b'tzidkati hadi'ani Adonai la'reshet et ha'aretz hazot uvrishat hagoyim ha'ela Adonai Morisham Mikanecha Lahu V'tzikatecha Uvyosher Nevaha Alecha Atava L'Reshet Et Artzam Ki Birishat Hagoyim Ha'ela Adonai Elohecha Morisha Mikanecha Uman Hakim et hadavar Asher nishba Adonai l'avotecha L'Avraham Yitzchak U'Yaakov V'yadata Ki lo v'tzidkatecha Adonai Elohecha Noten lecha ta'aretz ha'tova hazot rishta ki amker she'orach ata zechor tishkach et asher hitzavta et Adonai Elohecha b'midbar min hayom asher yatzata me'eretz Mitzrayim ad bo'achem ad hamakom hazeh mamrim haytem im Adonai uforech hiktzavtem et Adonai vayitanav Adonai b'chem lehashmid etchem Ba'aloti hahara lakafat luchot ha'avanim luchot ha'brit asher karat Adonai imachem vayeshev bahar 40 yom v'arbaim laila lechem lo achalti umayim lo shatiti vayiten Adonai lai et shnei luchot ha'avanim ketuvim betzallohim ba'aleihem kechol ha'devarim asher diber Adonai imachem bahar mitoch ha'esh b'yom ha'kara.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natan b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen.
All right, so that one was about that you should not assume it's our own greatness that led us to basically be alive and inherit the land they're about to inherit, but rather it's really about God. Now we're going to recall Moses on the mountain, the Ten Commandments, and the golden calf, 2nd Aliyah, chapter 9, verse 11 through 14. Levi, we call upon Sid Levi, and I believe Garrett Langfeld to read the Torah.
Ha'amod Siben Hirschleib Alehi.
Baruch Adonai Hambarak.
Baruch Adonai Hambarak.
Baruch Adonai Hambarak Ve'elam Ba'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher l'karvanu kol ha'im v'natan lanu et torto. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayehi miketz 40 yom 40 laila natan Adonai elai et shnei luchot ha'avanim luchot ha'brit vayomer Adonai elai kum red maher mizeh ki shichet amcha asher hotzeta mimitzrayim saru maher min haderech asher tzivitim asu lahem masecha vayomer Adonai elai lemor ra'iti et ha'am hazeh ve'hinei am kasher orech hu herech mimeni la'ashmitem ve'emche et shemam mitachat hashamayim ve'eseh otcha v'goy atzum baram mimenu.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natan askeinu. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Third Aliyah, more on the golden calf and how Moses interceded. Verses 15 through 21, we call upon past presidents Rick Eager and Alice Hale for third Aliyah.
Baruch Adonai Hamburah. Baruch Adonai Hamburah Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachartanu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torah. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Va'efen va'ered min ha'har v'ha'har bo'er ba'esh u'shnei luchot habrit al shkei yadai va'elah v'hineh V'chatatem Adonai Elohechem Asitem lachem Edel Masecha Sartem Maher Min haderech Asher tiva Adonai Etchem V'etkos Bishnei Hanukot V'ashlichem Me'al Shkei Yadai V'ashaberem Le'enechem V'etnapal Lifnei Adonai Karishona Arba'im Yom V'arba'im Laila Lachem Lo Achalti U'mayim Lo Shatiti Al Kol Chatatchem Asher Chatatem La'asot hara Ve'enei Adonai Le'achiso Ki yagurti Mipnei ha'af Ve'ha'achema Asher katzaf Adonai Alechem Le'hashmit etchem V'yishma Adonai Elai Gam ba'pa'am ha'hi U'vaharon Hikanaf Adonai Me'od Le'hashmito V'etpalel Gam be'ad Aharon Ba'et ha'hi V'etpatatchem Asher asitem et ha'edel Lakachti V'asrofoto V'esh V'ekototo Otachot hetev Ad asher da'ach le'afar V'ashlich et afaro El hanachal Hayored min ha'ar
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natan l'chavinu Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Let's go out. Fourth Aliyah, verses 22 through 29. More on the rejection of God by the people and Moses interceding on their behalf, and called upon Larry Poland for the fourth Aliyah.
Baruch Adonai Hamburah. Baruch Adonai Hamburah Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachartanu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Uftaverot masah ufkivrot hata'ava matif heitem et Adonai Vishloach Adonai etchem Mikadesh barnei lemor עלו ושובו את הארץ אשר נתתי לכם ותאמרו את פי אדוני אלוהיכם ולא האמנתם לו ולא שמעתם בקולו ממרים היטב עם אדוני מיום גדתי אתכם ואת נפל לפני אדוני את 40 היום ואת 40 הלילה אשר התנחלתי כי אמר אדוני להשמיד אתכם ואתפלל אל אדוני ואמר אדוני אלוהים אל תשחת את עמך ונחלתך אשר פדית בגאולך אשר הוצאת ממצרים ביד חזקה זכור לעבדיך לאברהם ליצחק וליעקב אל תפן אל תשית העם הזה ואל רשעו ואל חטאתו כן יאמרו הארץ אשר הוצאתנו משם מבלי יכולת אדוני להביאם אל הארץ אשר דיבר לכם ומשנאתו אותם הוציאם להמיתם במדבר והם עמך ונחלתך אשר הוצאת בכוחך הגדול ובזרועך הנטויה.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
אמן. ישוע. Fifth Eliyahu, we're now on chapter 10, which is the very bottom, 1046, 10, 1 through 5, talking about the second set of tablets carved after Moshe smashed the first. So that is 10, 1 through 5. And the fifth Eliyahu will be read by Renat Fried, and the blessing by Rafi and Tamar. Tamar got back from Israel yesterday. So welcome back. She was on the summer version program of the Alexander Muss High School in Israel program.
Rafi, what's Raphael? Ben Sam Bidini, the Tamar, Raphael, the Renat, Kamishi.
Amen. Ba'et ha'im amar Adonai Elai v'solecha shnei luchot avanim harishonim va'ale elai ahar v'asita lecha aron etz ויכתוב על הלוחות את הדברים אשר היו על הלוחות הראשונים אשר שיברת ושמתם בארון. ועש ארון עצי שיטים ועשו 2 לוחות אבנים כראשונים ועל ההרה ו2 לוחות בידי. ויכתוב על הלוחות כמכתב הראשון את 10 הדברים אשר דיבר אדוני עליכם בהר מתוך האש ביום הקהל ויפנם אדוני אלי. ואפן וארד מן ההר ואשים את הלוחות בארון אשר עשיתי ויהיו שם כאשר ציווני אדוני.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי העולם נתן בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Yasher. All right, the 6th Aliyah going to be read by Sarah Korn and the Aliyah Stu and Jeannie Korn. Or just, well, either way, you can go, might as well, Jeannie, or you want Stu to not be overwhelmed by your beautiful voice.
Yeah, do Yisrael ben Shimon Rachel, Shendel bat Daniel b'Shoshana.
Chapter 10:63, Journeys, including Aaron's death.
אשר בחר בנו מכל העמים ונתן לנו את תורתו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. Ubnei Yisrael natu imero b'nei Yaakov Yisrael shamei Aaron v'ikeber sham v'ikahen Elazar ben Atata Yishamatu ha'avoda umim ha'kavoda yafatet eretz nachemai v'ikahi Yibir Adonai et Shevet David Tasei Edom Baridonai Lama V'nei Adonai Asherto Obrek Bishmo Ad Hayom Hazeh.
Go on.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נתן בתוכנו. Baruch atah Adonai נותן התורה.
Amen. Yasher. I just want to acknowledge how wonderful it is to have both Sarah Korn and Garrett Langfeld here reading Torah. Grew up here, bar mitzvah here at Temple Abraham, and back, as young adults reading Torah. Like there's no sticker, there's no requirement for their bar mitzvah. Here they are, just back and reading Torah so beautifully. And Garrett will be reading Haftarah as well. All right, for the 7th Aliyah, we're going to call upon Lisa Fernandez and the chapter 10, verses 9 through 11. Up, resume your march after the second 40-day waiting period for Moses.
Ta'amod Aliza bat Chaim v'Keren Shvi'im.
Baruch Adonai Melech haolam va'ed. Amen.
Amen. Elokein lo haya lelevi haylech nachalaim echad Adonai hu nachalato ka'asher diber Adonai Elohecha lo Yanochi amati bahar kayamim harishonim Arba'im yom ve'arba'im laila ve'yishma Adonai elai gam papa'am hahiv lo avad Adonai hashchitecha vayomer Adonai elai kum lech l'masa lifnei ha'am vayavo'u Vayirshu et haaretz asher nishpati la'avotam latzed lahem.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natzat b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen. All right, we rise for Chatzi Kaddish. So I'm not sure why I moved the camera yet. That's later. Amen. We turn now to the Maftir Aliyah, which is on page 1053, 1053, starting with verse 22. If you faithfully keep the commandments, you will be allowed to possess the land.
Ya'amod Gamliel ben Meir HaKohen HaMaftir.
Baruch et Adonai Hamborach. Baruch Adonai Hamborach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen. Ki im shamot Yisrael echol hamitzvah hazot asher anati mitzavechem la'asota v'ahava el Adonai Elohechem v'alechet b'chol baraka v'ledachavo v'holich Adonai echol ha'goyim ha'ela v'liklechem v'rishem goyim v'dolim v'atzivim Kol ha'makom asher tigo kacholuchem v'olochem v'yeh v'hamidbar v'ha'anon v'ha'nahar v'ha'torah ve'al hayam
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam atah b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yasher koach. All right, a blessing for all who read. Mishper Chavtein Avraham Yitzchak V'Yaakov Sar Kara Chavleai V'Rechet Kor Krim Asher Elohim L'For Makom L'Kvor HaTorah L'Kvor HaShabbat HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yivrech Otam Et Mishpachotam V'Yishlach B'Chava Tzchad Makom L'Sedim V'Kol Yisrael Chayim V'Nomar Amen. And we're thinking especially for those who are ill. Before I read the list, very bad news this week is that Adele Mendelson-Canaan is actually quite ill, in a very serious condition in the hospital. There may have been a stroke involved. It was her son. I was talking to her on the phone, but it was like one of those terrible, those T-Mobile commercials where I could only hear every other word, so I don't exactly know what happened, but I know that we're at the point where we're really praying for a miracle. And for those who know Adele, she's an amazing human being, Holocaust survivor, survived as a little girl, just the most elegant person, kindest person. And so we are praying for her recovery. We're also thinking today about Scott Lawrence, Dahlia Bat Razel, Hazan Shlomo Natan Ben Nechama, Barbara Rose, Lou Burl, Ilya Oak, Pastor Karen Stepko, Karina Gola Bat Hadav, Yehuda Tzvi, Lehudit Bat Shena, Shabtai Dov Ben Shimon Moshe, Shraga Handel Ben Ruth, Manuel Ben Sara, Esther Malka Bat Sala, Ray Ranshaw, Missy Rosen, Albert Alter, Rosie Gurman, Leah Bat Shimon Lazar, Bob Rasters, Justin Hardy, Yechiel Ben Elisa, Julia Maldonado, Eva Abrams Heimowitz, Martin Rosenthal, Shulamit Bat Leah, and Miriam Bat Yehudi. If you have any other names of those who are ill, please go ahead and say them at this time. Mishaberach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak V'Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel V'Leah Hu Yivarech V'Yirapeh Et HaCholim Ilma Refana Lahem Ilma Refana Mishaberach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak V'Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel V'Leah Vivarech V'Yirapeh Et HaCholim. May God bless and heal all those who are ill. May we be with them in their time of need. We rise now for the Hadba and Belila. Yam, both Yam.
Ya'amod, Hamantia,
No, it's Yam,
Hamod,
it's Yam.
Hamolelet.
No, it's Yam.
Oh, I think Ya'amod, Hamolel.
Vezot HaTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai yad Moshe Eitz Chaim hi lemachazikim ba'avetot ve'amerushar Eitz Chaim hi lemachazikim ba'avetot ve'amerushar Derachei Darkei Noam V'chol B'tivotei Shalom Derachei Darkei Noam V'chol B'tivotei Shalom Yai 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 that Noam is doing the goleling, the rapping the Torah, and we're singing Eitz Chaim, Darchei Noam, the ways of Noam. So works well. We're going to turn now to page 1056, the second Haftarah of Consolation following Tisha B'Av. It's a long one, which we can maybe see it, which brings it down from 4 to 3 Torahs in my reading system. It's a little too long. Beautiful imagery. The imagery is very poignant, both in terms of its pain and its hope at the same time. And it includes this idea of a mother forsaking her children and then coming back to the children. The metaphor, the mom is God, the mother is God in this case. So that's it. Can a woman forget her baby or disown the child of her womb? Though she might forget, I never could forget you. All right, page 1056.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nvi'im tovim v'ratza b'divreihem hanehamarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai abocher b'Torah u'Moshe avdo u'Yisrael amo u'v'nvi'ei ha'emet v'tzedek. V'atomer Tzion azavani Adonai Adonai shechechani hatishkach isha ula merachem ben libna gam eile tishkachna v'anochi lo eshkachech hein al kapayim chakotich chomotayich negdi tamid miharu banayich v'harsayich u'macharibayich mimech yetzeu Se'isavi ve'nai churi kulam nikbetzu ba'ulach chayani ne'um Adonai ki chulam ka'adi tilbashi u'kashrim kakala ki chorlotayach v'shom amotayach be'eretz harisutech ki ata tetrim yashem v'rachaku nevalayach ot Yomru ve'osnayach b'nei shigulayach Sarli hamakom v'shalvi ve'esheva ve'amart bilvavech mi yavadli et ele v'ani shechula v'gamuda gola v'sura ve'ele mi yidel hey ani nishar tilvadi ele echohem Ko amar Adonai Elohim Hine esa el goyim yadi el amim arim nisi beheviu v'anayich bechotzen uvnotayich apateti nasena behayu melachim omnayich v'sartehem menikotayich apayim eretz yishachavu bach Ba'afar raglayich ilachechu yadat ki ani Adonai asher lo yevoshu tovai hayuchach migibor makoach ve'im shevi tzadik imalet ki cho amar Adonai kam shevi gibor yukach u'makoach aritz imalet ve'irivech anochi ariv Ve'panayach anochi Yoshia v'hachalti et monayach ekasaram ve'asis dama mishparun ve'adu kol basar ki ani Adonai Moshe v'goalech Avir Yaakov kol amar Adonai zeh sefer 3-2 Timchem asher shilachtia o mi minashai asher macharti etchem lo hein ואבותיכם נמכרתם, ופישיכם שולחה עמכם. מדוע באתי ואין איש, קראתי ואין עונה, הקצור קצרה, ידי מיטוט, ואם אין בי כוח להציל, הם מגרתי אחרי ים, אשים והרות מדבר, תיבש שגתם מאין מים, ותמות בצמא, הלביש שמיים חדרות, ושקשים כסותם. אדוני אלוהים נתן לי לשון לימודים, לדעת לעוט את יעד דבר, יאיר בבוקר, יאיר לי אוזן לשמוע כל לימודים. אדוני אלוהים פתח לי אוזן, ואנוכי לא מריתי, אחור לא נסוגותי. קיבי נתתי למחים, וחיי למורטים. פני לא הסתרתי מכלימות עברו, ואדוני אלוהים יעזור לי, על כן לא נכלמתי, על כן שמתי פני כחלמיש, בעדה כי לא אבוש. קרוב מצחיקי, מיריב איתי נעמדה יחד, יבעל משפטי ייגש אלי. הן אדוני אלוהים יעזור לי, מיהו ירשייני. הן כולם כבגד יבלו, אש יאכלם. מי בכם יראה אדוני, שומע בקול עבדו, אשר הלך חשכים, ואין נוגע לו, יבטח בשם אדוני, וישען באלוהיו. הן כולכם קודחי אש מעזרי זיקות, לכו באור אשכם, וזיקות בירתם, מידי הייתה זאת לכם, לצבא תשכבון, שימו אליי. רודפי צדק מבקשי אדוני, הביטו אל צור חוצבתם, ואל מרכבת בור נוכרתם. הביטו אל אברהם אביכם, ואל שרה תחולכם, כי אחד קראתי, ואברכהו, וירבהו, כי ניחם אדוני ציון. ניחם כל חורבותיה, ויעשם ברק עדן. וערבתה כאן אדוני, ששון ושמחה יימצא בה, תודה וכל זמרה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, צור כל העולמים, צדיק בכל הדורות, האל הנאמן האומר ועושה, המדבר ומקיים, שכל דבריו אמת והצדק. נאמן אתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו, ונאמנים דבריך, ודבריך מברך, אכל לא ישוב ריקם, כי המלך נאמן ורחמן אתה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הנאמן בכל דבריו. רחם על ציון היא בית חיינו, ולעלות נפש תושיע במהרה בימינו. ברוך אתה אדוני, ושמח ציון בבניה. שמחנו אדוני אלוהינו באליהו הנביא עבדך, ובמלכות בית אבינו שליחך. במהרה יבוא ויגל ליבנו, על כיסאו לא ישב שר, ולא ימחלו עוד החמים את כבודו. כי בשם קדושך נשבעת לו, שלא יקרה נרו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני מגן דוד. על התורה ועל העבודה ועל הנביאים ועל יום השבת הזה, שנתת לנו אדוני אלוהינו, לקדושה ולמנוחה, לכבוד ולתפארת. על הכל אדוני אלוהינו, אנחנו מודים לך ומברכים אותך. יתברך שמך, בפי כל חי תמיד לעולם ועד. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Yasher koach. Thank you, Garrett. Yasher koach. We're going to turn now to page 224, Prayer for the State of Israel. 224 in the Siddur. Avinu Shabashamayim, Zur Israel Go'alo, Barech Emedinat Yisrael, Reshit Michad Gulatenu, Hagen Aleha Bevrat Chastecha, Ufros Aleha Sukat Shlomecha, Ushlach Orcha Ve'amitcha Rashea, Sarea Ve'yotzea, V'taknem Ve'etza Tova Milfanecha, Chazek Et Yidei Mignei Eretz Kochenu, V'hanchilem Eloheinu Yeshua, Ve'ateret Nitzachon Teatrem, Ve'natata Shalom Ba'aretz, V'simchat Olam Le'oshveha, V'nomar, Amen. Our Av that is in heaven, Rock of Israel and its Redeemer, bless the state of Israel, the first flowering of our redemption. Shield her with the wings of your loving kindness, spread over her the shelter of your peace. Send your light and your truth to her heads of state, our ministers and our advisors, restore them with good counsel before you. Strengthen the hands of those who defend your holy land. Bequeath to them our God's salvation. Adorn them with a crown of triumph, and grant peace in the land and eternal joy to its inhabitants. And let us say, Amen. Page 231. Ashrei Ashrei Beitecha, Od Yahalu Chasdela. Tila LeDavid, Unimcha LaHamelech, V'Racha Shimcha Le'olam Va'ed. Lidulato in Cheker. Darker Vododecha, V'Yivrei Neflotecha Asicha. Zecher Avtucha Yavil, Tikatacha Yiranenu. Tovonai Lako, Rachamav Kol Ma'asav. V'Malchutcha Yomeru, Gvartecha Yitaberu. Malchutcha Malchut Kol Olamim, U'Memshaltecha B'Chol Dor V'Dor. Inechol Lecha Yisaberu, V'Atanoten Lahem Et Ochlam V'Ito. Tzadik Adonai B'Chol Drachav, V'Chasiv B'Chol Ma'asav. Tzon Rav Yaseh, V'et Shavatam Yishma V'Yoshihem. Adonai Naver Pi V'Varech Kol Basar Shem Kodsho Le'olam Va'ed. V'anachnu Nevarech Yah Me'atav Yad Olam. Hallelujah. We rise for the return of the Sefer Torah to the Ark, and so Heather and Obi, you want to just open the Ark again, but John, you should probably just take it from there too. Yalu et Shem Adonai, ki niskav Shemo Levato, Odo al Eretz v'shamayim, vayarem kerem le'alo, tila le'mochatzah, v'nei Yisrael ad kerovo. Hallelujah. Before the Davi, Adonai Almayim Rabim. Kol Adonai Ba'agoa, Kol Adonai Be'ahar, Kol Adonai Shover Haratzim, Vayishamer Adonai Yotzei Darkenim K'moegel Van V'Tziyot, Gimo Ben Re'imim. Kol Adonai Chotzeh B'Chodesh, Kol Adonai Yafil Midbar, Yafil Adonai Midbar. Sof Yarod V'Chalo Kulo Omer Kavod. Shabbat Yeshev Adonai Melech Leolam. Adonai Oseh Amo Yitain. Adonai Yivarech Et Amo V'Shalom. Uvnucho Yomar. Ki lekach tov natati lachem torati al ta'azovu. Mitzrayini le'machazikim ba v'tom fe'ma merushar deraveha darhei noam ve'om tivoteha shalom. We may be seated. Right, so I have almost two separate sermons in one, but both are from the Torah portion. But they're kind of linked through camp. I didn't get to go to summer camp this year. And you can say, well, you're 55, you're not really supposed to go to, I'm actually not, almost 55, right? You're not supposed to go to summer camp. But I've been going to summer camp still most of my life, working as the camp rabbi. I was going to go to Ramah, Northern California for a week, but I was unable to go at the beginning of the session. And because of COVID restrictions, if you can't be there on the first day, you can't go visit. And so, even though I promised some families that I'd be there for their little kids at their first time, right, Jacqueline? I was unable to be there. So I missed having camp, and I'll get back to that in a second. But when I was a kid, even though I loved being at camp, one thing I hated about it every 4 years was that I had to miss the Olympics, right? And I didn't get to watch them. So, a couple different themes emerging from that. I want to start with the Olympics. Now, if you look at the Torah portion, there's the whole golden calf incident redescribed by Moshe. And the way we treat the Olympics is somewhat akin to golden calf in the way that we idolize the gold medal, right? We, if someone doesn't win the gold, it's as if they, it's as if they're a loser and they somehow didn't do it, and I'm right in there with that group, when in my bad moments, right? And, watching Katie Ledecky, can't she just beat the Australian? On the other hand, I love Australia, but anyway, she's got the lead, and then she loses the swim race. I love the races most of all, of course. I love watching them. And I'm going to get to Simone Biles in just a second as well. But my favorite part are the races. Actually, I'll do the Simone Biles part now as well. I have a love-hate relationship with gymnastics. I actually don't enjoy watching it, but I know a lot about it because my sister was a competitive gymnast. She competed for Stanford. She was about 25th in the country at her peak in 8th grade, and she was never going to make the Olympics. So she quit at that point and retired. Except she didn't really retire. She retired from competitive gymnastics, and she did high school and was still good enough to get a scholarship to college. But it was both a wonderful part of her life and a terrible part of her life. She loved it, she hated it. I loved it, and I hated it. And I didn't like, as a 10-year-old sitting through, 2 days of 10-hour meets, in Fresno or whatever. So we have that as well. But I also really understand about how dangerous it is. In fact, one of her teammates at Stanford, actually not while competing for Stanford, but while competing in the Pan Am Games, became paralyzed for life from a vault. And she really made quite a big, even though she was paralyzed for life and in a wheelchair, she became a very successful lawyer. She was originally from Puerto Rico and went back to Puerto Rico, very successful lawyer, but still just the tragedy of that. And so when Simone Biles does not does not compete, right? When she dropped out of the competition, it's mental health, but it's more than mental health. It's physical danger, because if you start becoming afraid of doing tricks, you can get paralyzed or die. And I think it's mostly about that, honestly. And that's an incredibly serious thing. My only sadness, I think we all admire her. I keep seeing postings about how all the people shouldn't call her things. It's all positive postings, though, in my feed about what she did and how brave it was. My only sadness is, having watched the trials as well, I just wish, I wish she had somehow known a couple weeks before, and you could kind of see it at the trials, she began to become afraid of her own tricks, that someone else could have also gone, and she could have gone as a coach or something, because, they were, to see those young women competing who just miss it, and they've spent their entire lives. If we could have snuck in one more, it would have been amazing for that particular person. But for Simone, obviously, clearly the greatest gymnast of all time, Wayne Gretzky, Michael Jordan level of competition, and we may never see someone who's won that much or is able to do the things that she was able to do with her body. And she may not be done, but for now, that fear is real, and it's not just mental health. It is pikuach nefesh. You're talking about an actual life. But back to the Olympics. We got the sports report now here, because after all, it is me. How many medals has Israel won this Olympics so far? Anybody know?
More than once.
2, actually, yeah. So can anyone name the sports? Judo and, Taekwondo, so Taekwondo, they won bronze in both. They just won the bronze in Judo. The first day was the bronze in Taekwondo. I think her name's Avishai, possibly. And today was yesterday was a team competition for Judo, and they won the bronze in that as well. So hats off to Israel. The Israel baseball team, sadly, is already out of the competition. They lost in extra innings to South Korea in the first game. And then they played the United States, and Joey Wagman was starting pitcher on the mound. He spoke here. He raised money to fulfill his dream and to stay in training. And he got out of the first inning. He struck out the side in the second inning. And then in the third inning, gave up a 3-run homer with 2 outs. But, still, he did really well. He fulfilled his dream, and Israel, also one game, baseball, small sample size, anybody can win. Very proud. We're proud to know him, and he was great when he spoke here. Really just an engaging guy, personality. So glad he fulfilled his dream. And I kept finding myself a little bit disappointed by that we didn't win gold, USA, and then, both being mad at myself for even caring that much about that. The United States is actually leading in medals. We have more medals than any other country, so we cannot be even disappointed in their actual performance. Objectively, they've done amazingly. So hats off to them. But we have to be careful not to idolize. That's the first part. Now, when I go to camp, most of the last year, some years I've gone to BBOS camp, some years I've gone to Camp Ramah, Northern California, Southern California. And one of the great things about Camp Ramah is this thing, okay? And I know it's a book. This has all the summer parshiot, summer Torah portions, with these amazing commentaries, with incredible, headlines and pictures and education friendly. I would say I might be the only one there reading it, and the other visiting rabbis. They have poured so much into making this amazing, but for most of the kids, that's just not what they're interested in. But it is such a great resource. I love it so much that I took one. Yeah, it's a loan. It's a long-term loan. Exactly. And I did make more than equivalent donations for its purpose, but still, I have this thing. And I read a great teaching on one line of Torah this week that I want to share with you. And the teaching actually comes straight from the Talmud, Brachot 7a. The line in the Torah is God arguing with Moses. It's chapter 9, verse 14. And God basically says, leave me alone so I can destroy these people. Right? They're just terrible. All they do is complain and bow down to idols. And God says, leave me alone so I can destroy them and blot out their name, and I will make you a nation mightier and greater than them. It's almost like, as I think Sid Levy pointed out in Torah study this week, it's a Noah's Ark moment, right? It's almost the same thing with Noah. I'm just going to get rid of him and I'm going to start all over again just with you, Moshe. Just like happened with Noah. And Moses talks God out of it, and we still get to be a great nation. And so the Talmud derives this principle. It says, whenever God says something good, God can never go back on that word, even if the bad part is canceled. So the destroying the people part gets canceled, but the making of the great nation is still a promise that has to be fulfilled. Bad's canceled, the good fulfilled. What a beautiful teaching and a beautiful way of looking at Hashem, right? Of looking at God. Now I know it's hard for, that might not be part of your theology, but I was just really kind of blown away by that, right? That's how great God's love is, that will only hold to the promise, only the good part of the promise. And if we're to be in the image of God, and if we're to imitate God, that's what we have to strive for too. And it's not easy at all, right? We often hang on to the negative about ourselves, about other people, grudges that we hold. But if we can think about that as our highest ideal, right? To cancel the bad, but keep all the good promises. We actually do some of that, right? We tend to only speak kindly of the dead at a funeral. If you think back to some of the times of your life, like perhaps our year in Australia that we were talking about, and my sabbatical in Israel, or memories from college, for many people, you only remember the good, right? Not everybody does that, but you really do only remember good, and you do cancel the bad in your own mind. And if you go back to the Olympics, I really think, we're going to remember Simone Biles as the greatest gymnast of all time. We're not going to remember that she didn't compete in these Olympics. Katie Ledecky, one of the greatest swimmers of all time. I mean, how many times did Babe Ruth strike out? How many shots did Michael Jordan miss? But that's not what we remember. We remember they're the greatest in their sports of all time. It's also the way we have to attempt to treat other human beings. And I acknowledge that might be the most difficult of all. Pirkei Avot, though, says, always judge someone for the good, right? When you're torn, just weigh on the side of the good. It's easier said than done, but that's really what God does. That's what that little passage in the Talmud that I found in this wonderful Camp Ramah book, from the times I spent there this summer, right? Cancel the bad, but keep the promise of the good. That's the teaching I want to try to learn to live by, and I want us to take with us this Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom. All right. Mark Fickus is going to lead us in Musaf instead of me. Page 239. Please rise.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמך רבה, ילמד יפרח חיותי וימלך מלכותי, וחייכון וביומכון, וחיי לכל בית ישראל, בגלה בגלה, ובזמן קריב נמהו. יהי שמך רבה מבורך, לעולם לא מעלמיה יתברך, יתברך וישתבח, יתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל שמי לקודשה. לעילמים כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמיהרן בעלמא וימרו. Adonai sefatai tifta ufia ki tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avoteinu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומר חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות, ומביא גואל לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ופוקד שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים אתה להושיע. מכפר חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים. צומק נופלים והופך עולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבולות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחייב, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי המתים. נעריצך ונקדישך, כסוד צייה, צפי קודש, המקדישים שמך בקודש, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וכזה על זרעך. קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלך כל הארץ כבודו. כבודו מלא עולם, משרתיו שואלים זה לזה, איה מקום כבודו, לעומתם ברוך יאמרו, ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו הוא יפן ברחמים, ויחון עם המייחדים שמו, ערב ובוקר בכל יום תמיד. פעמיים באהבה, פעמיים באהבה שמע אומרים, שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו, והוא ישמיענו ברחמה, שני לעיני כל חי, שני לעיני כל חי, להיות לכם לאלוהים. ובדברי קודשך כתוב לאמור, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון, לדור ודור הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד קולך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. כי אל מלך גדול וקדוש אתה, ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
We continue signing pages 247 to 258.
Ose shalom bimhoma, Yase shalom aleinu. Ose shalom bimhoma, Yase shalom aleinu. Ose shalom bimhoma, Yase shalom aleinu. Yase shalom, Yase shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. יתגדל ויתקדש שמך רבה, ועמד יברכותה וימליך מלכותה, בחייכון ובימיכון ובחיי לכל בית ישראל, בעגל ובזמן קריב ואמרו, יהי שמך רבה מבורך, לעולם עולם ועלמיה יתברך. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשה. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה דם ירן בעלמה ואמרו. תקבל צלות ההון ובאותכון לכל ישראל, קודם ובהון דבשמיא ואמרו. יהי שלום הרב מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו. עושה שלום במרומיו, ויעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו. Are you doing in Kelohenu?
Oh yeah, we are. So, but there's no kids, so yeah.
Does that mean I get penny candy too?
You want a candy?
No, I don't. All right. Ein Kelohenu, ein Kadonenu, ein Kemalkeinu, ein Kemoshienu, mi Kelohenu, mi Kadonenu, mi Kemalkeinu, mi Kemoshienu, Noden Eloheinu, Noden Adonenu, Noden Lemalkeinu, Noden Moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu, Atahu Shiktiru, Avotenu, Lefanecha eketoret asani. Aleinu l'shalach l'adon hakol, l'ateit gilula le'otzeh breshit, shelo asanu k'gei ha'atzot, ve'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo tzamchakenu kahem, ve'gohar aleinu k'chol hamonam, va'anachnu roim, u'mishtachayim u'modim, lifnei melech malchei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu, שבנותי שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושבי קרוב בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובה מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו איך זולתו, כך כתוב בתורתו, ידעת היום והשבתה. לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים, בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת, אין עוד. על כן נקווה לך אדוני אלוהינו לראות מהרה בתפארת עוזך, להעביר גלולים מן הארץ האלילים קרות לכרתום, ופני עולם במלכות שדי, וכל בני בשר יקראו בשמך, להפנות אליך כל אישי הארץ, יכירו וידעו כל יושבי תבל, כי לך תקרא כל ברך תשמע כל לשון לפניך אדוני אלוהינו יכרעו ויפולו ולכבוד שמך יקייתנו ויקבלו כולם את עול מלכותך ותמלוך עליהם עליהם מעולם ועד כי המלכות שלך היא ולעולמי תמלוך בכבוד ככתוב בתורתך אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
This week, we lovingly recall the memory of our departed relatives and friends whose yard sites we observe during the coming week, thinking especially today of Herschel Bar Avram, David Berkovich, Ellen Berkovich, Irving Mayer Burt, Marshall Dennenberg, Pearl Epperson, Richard Felton, Arthur Glazer, Daniel Goldfein, Eileen Grossman, David Herman Klein, John B. Landowitz, Rose Lurch, Reuben Lurch, Minnie Leeson, Dorothy Levine, Ruth Mintz, Donald Paulson, Edith Poland, Solomon Rabinowitz, Arthur Michael Ross, Arthur Roth, Hannah Ethel Roth, Harry Rubin, Esther Schecht, Saul Seltzer, Sandra Shapiro, Harry Tooman. And we are in the Shloshim for Aviva Rachel Shotland, Francis Block, Simi Baum, and we are in the Shiva for Andy Simonoff, the sister of Eric Lev. And Eric, our thoughts are most definitely with you at this time. Members of all who are with us, we ask all those who are in mourning or observing Yortzeit, as well as anyone else who would wish to rise for the mourner's Kaddish. At this time, page 267. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, ve'alma divrach chirutei ve'amlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon, v'edechol beit Yisrael, Bagala bizman kariv imru, Amen. Yehi shmei Rabban vorach, le'olam l'mei omaya, yitbarach, v'ishtabach, v'yitpa'ar, v'yitravam, v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shmei kudsha, barichu, le'elam yin kol berchata, v'shirata, tushbechata, v'nechemata, tamiran v'yalma, v'imru. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru. Oseh shalom b'imromam, Uyase Shalom, Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Bimru, Amen. Zichronam Livracha, may the memory of the people you've come to say Kaddish for your blessings to always. Let us say, Amen. Okay, some announcements first, and I forgot to do this last night when they were here. My apologies to them, because they're probably not listening right now, but Mazel Tov to Lynn Gittimer and Dan Weiner on the birth of their first grandchild. Very exciting stuff. Mazel Tov to Shomonique on carrying the Torah for the first time, receiving her Hebrew name. All right, we have, well, Minyan continues Monday and Thursday, 8 a.m. here in the sanctuary, Friday 6:15 in the courtyard, Saturday morning 9:30 here. Torah study on Wednesdays will not be at the Palista Cafe. It will be at somebody's house in their outdoor space. Please, if you want to go, just contact me directly. And if anyone knows of an outdoor space cafe that has enough seating where you can put like 10 to 12 people together, let me know. We haven't found that. Either the tables are too far apart or it's not enough, because remember, other places have customers besides us, and we don't buy nearly enough food. So anyway, I think I've covered all the ideas, but I'm sure I haven't. So if somebody has an idea, it also has to have parking nearby. So who knows? But if I'm missing something, let me know. And high holidays are coming up, and what we think we're doing now may not be what we think we're doing in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, so just stay tuned is all I can tell you. I mean, the one thing that is certain is that all services will be streamed, okay? You will be able to watch them at all, for sure. But we don't know exactly. As of now, we're planning on being completely open. That may change. We'll have to, again, you just have to pay attention, as we will be constantly to the news, to the CDC recommendations, to the Alameda County recommendations, and to our own medical committee. All right, I think that's it. What's the book club book again, Karen?
On Division by Goldie Goldblum.
On Division by Goldie Goldblum, the TBA book club. And also August 11th on Zoom. Also, while I have Faith Kramer in the congregation today, I want to say Mazel Tov. Her book is coming. She has a book coming out. So Mazel. Absolutely. Fantastic. And I also want to wish Roe and Stephanie, who are here in the back. You don't know them, they're new. They're going to wave right now. They are headed off to Israel next week. So, Nesiat Tovah. And Mark, do you want to lead us in some sort of finishing? Yeah, Some Adon Olam on page 269.
Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Ko Yitzir Nivra Le'ed Nasa B'chefzo Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Ve'acharei Kichlot HaKol Levado Yimloch Noah Ve'hu Velo ha'oz ve'hamizrach Velo ha'oz ve'hamizrach Vehu eli v'chai gorali Ve'tzurchem li be'et sarab Vehu nisi umanos li Ve'nakosi be'yom echad Ve'nakosi be'yom echad Yado Akiluchi Be'etishan Be'aira Be'imruchi Geviati Adonai Liz Velo Ira Adonai Liz Velo Ira. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.